Hi there, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Nick.
What we thought we'd talk about today is the fact that you need to get any message out there multiple times. One of the mistakes that people make is in placing one advert and hoping to get responses from that. Now sometimes that can be, you might strike lucky, but actually more often than not you need to have a sustained campaign. This was brought home to me recently. I mean, I consider myself to be fairly au fait with marketing, but this was brought home to me recently because I ran some happiness courses, a couple of workshops and an 8-week course. And so I started my promotions with my e-newsletter, which I sent out a couple of months back. I produced some posters, I replaced my normal adverts with adverts for the happiness class so that it wouldn't cost me any more. And tweeted. Now, one of the people who I know read my newsletter then came along to the one-day workshop and said, "Do you know, I didn't realise that you were running the 8-week version." I'm thinking, and when I look back, that person had had my e-newsletter. I sent out a separate e-newsletter just about the happiness classes. That person would have seen posters and so on. So this person who was already warm to me hadn't spotted this. And it really rammed it home to me how just because you think you've sent someone an e-newsletter and you know they've read it, that they will necessarily have taken the message on board. Because what happens is people need to see things multiple times before they take action. And the general rule of thumb is that somebody needs to see the message 7 times. It could be 7, it could be 27. Just keep plugging away. Now the mistake people make is that they think, right, that means I need to send 7 newsletters, or I need to make 7 phone calls, or place 7 adverts. Not the case. They need to see it 7 times in different ways.
Places, yeah.
Different ways, possibly. So basically, whatever it is you're trying to promote, be it yourself, be it an event, be it a product, get that message out there in all the ways that you can, and don't assume just because you know somebody has seen it that they've actually taken it on board the first time. Keep plugging away.
I did a special quit smoking campaign because, as you know, probably we're hypnotherapists, and this was to run beside the government's Stoptober campaign last year. And there was an interesting story behind this one as well, because I did a press advert in a little magazine that I like to advertise in. I was tweeting about it. I did my e-newsletter. I even booked the board, one of the display boards in one of the clinics that I work in, because we, as therapists, it will rotate and we can have a nice big display board in reception for a whole month at a time, and you pre-book it. And this was an interesting one, and this just shows that people don't take opportunity that is free when it is readily available, and therefore they miss out in potential new clients, because for the month of the Stoptober campaign there was my nice display, and I happened to mention to the receptionist, well, it needs to come down on the last day of the month because otherwise it's going to be dated. And she said, okay, I will nudge the next therapist to put their display up. Anyway, she phoned me to say actually that the therapist hasn't come up with the goods, and could I just put my ordinary hypnotherapy display up? So I did, which rolled into the next month. And would you believe, even the following month, into the 3rd month, it was my display that was still up there. And yet this is an opportunity for all the passing trade that come through that clinic, which is, there's a lot of therapists there, people to advertise and therefore get their clients. And yet they didn't see it as an opportunity, and this is something that Debbie and I are very, very aware of with therapists, is either they don't like marketing or they don't know how to market, and that's why we're here. Because when we attended an exhibition recently, one of the therapists came up and said, well, I hate marketing. I said, yes, but how much do you love doing your therapy? She said, oh, it's wonderful. I said, okay. So I said, if it doesn't work, your business, and you have to pack up because you haven't marketed, you will then go and work for somebody else, and they are going to give you stuff occasionally that you don't like doing. And so whether you're self-employed or employed, unfortunately there is stuff that we don't like doing that we have to do. I don't like doing my books, but it's one of those things that goes with the territory, unless I'm prepared to pay somebody to do it for me, of course. So this is where we have some choices, but it's making yourself aware that it is, as Debbie says, a drip feed. You need to be in more than one place at one time.
I read something interesting the other day, I think it might have been on LinkedIn actually, and it was a message from a business person saying there's always one more thing you can do.
Absolutely.
And so when you think, oh goodness me, perhaps something's gone quiet or people aren't signing up to your course that you're running or whatever it might be, whatever offer it is you're putting out there, there is always something more you can do. Is it perhaps giving free vouchers out? Is it perhaps standing on a corner and handing out leaflets? Is it perhaps putting out a few more tweets about it? There's always something more you can do, but keep the message going out there. You will reap the reward.
And it doesn't matter what therapy you are. You could be a counsellor, you could be a physiotherapist, you could be an osteopath, you could be a reflexologist, you could be a beauty therapist. There will be something that you can talk about that will be informative and interesting to your audience. And so sometimes Debbie and I will sit down and we will have a chat about, well, what's going on in the world. What are the press talking about? If, for instance, there's anything that could be drawn from the press. And this is sometimes why we're lucky with the hypnotherapy, because there's really something going on that we can talk about. But even then, just aspects within your business of how you work and where you work and why you do what you do. And it's how can you get that message out there. And we get so easily trapped into doing what we like to do within marketing or what we understand or what we feel familiar with. And that's why when we run our courses and on our DVD, we cover many aspects, and we do qualify it by saying to the audience who are looking a bit shell-shocked at the end of 3 hours of us just throwing information at them, we say, look, the whole thing is just take one small step into a new direction. So try something new that you haven't done before, as well as the stuff that you have done before, and gradually build this marketing campaign. So you don't have to go and do it all at once, but you do have to keep looking at what else you can be doing. And this is, if you just want to do your therapy as a hobby, then fine. But if you want to have a full-time income out of it, or a reasonably good income, then unfortunately, whether you're a butcher, baker, candlestick maker, which is what I'm saying all the time these days, you do need to apply yourself to this marketing aspect.
Absolutely. Just so take a look at what you're doing, have a review of what you're doing, think about what's working well. If it's working well, do more of it. If it's not working, see if you can adapt it. And then see what you're not doing and then stretch yourself a little bit in that direction.
And don't forget, we're here if you get stuck. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.